Hello everyone and welcome to this new episode from Code Pickles. In this video, we'll be giving deployment tips that will make your deployment of modern web apps easier. In order to deploy a web app and map it to a domain with a secure connection, we'll need to have some knowledge about Docker, Nginx, and DNS records. At the end, we'll do a demo to map a domain to an app deployed to a Docker container, the simplest and easiest way, while installing an SSL certificate. As prerequisites, you'll need a web app ready to be deployed. This app should be ported into Docker containers. So what is Docker? Docker is a tool that allows developers, system administrators to easily deploy their application in containers to run on the host operating system. In our case, the host operating system is Linux. The main benefit of Docker is that it allows users to package an application with all of its dependencies into a standardized unit for software development. With Docker, your development environment will be exactly the same as your production environment and exactly the same as everyone else's development environment. This removes the problem of it's working locally, but it's not working on the server. The base image of a Docker image could be the kernel of an operating system. Unlike virtual machines, containers do not have high processing power consumption, so they enable more efficient usage of the underlying system and resources. I'll put in the description a reference for more info about the Docker containers. And now we get to the next piece of the puzzle, which is the Nginx. Nginx is a high-performance web server. It can be used as a standalone web server or serve in front of other web servers as a reverse proxy, which is our case here, because our web apps are hosted in their own web servers in their Docker containers. So when serving as a reverse proxy, Nginx is acting as a front web server, which passes the incoming requests on to web servers on the back and maybe on different ports. Nginx can handle aspects like SSL, HTTPS, cache headers, load balancing, and a lot of other stuff. So the web server on the back do not need to know how to handle SSL. And you don't need to learn how to configure SSL, HTTPS, and those web servers, as Nginx does it all. So here, for example, the user makes an HTTP request and the Nginx redirects it to this specific app made in Node.js, or the app made in Angular, or the app made in Tomcat. The next piece of the puzzle is the DNS. As you can see here, there are many types of DNS records. The A record is used to map a domain to an IP version 4. The 4A's record is used to map a domain to an IPv6. The MX record, for example, is used to map where to deliver emails for a specific domain. And now we go to the demo. To simplify things, we installed Portainer on our VPS server to handle with a simple UI the Docker containers. We also installed an administration panel to manage the Nginx configurations. In our case, we installed the aapanel. We could download different tools such as Nginx UI as a Docker container, but for the purpose of simplicity in this demonstration, we'll be using these simple tools. Here we have Portainer that manages Docker images and the running Docker containers. We'll be mapping this application, which is the company CMS, running on the port 8900 and can be accessed with the IP of the machine and the running port. So the first step would be to go to the hosting control panel, then to the DNS zone and add an A record to map the domain to the IP of the machine that hosts the application. Here, in this case, we added a subdomain, cms.codepickles.com, and we mapped it with an A record to the IP of the machine. So whenever an HTTP request is made on cms.codepickles.com, it would be redirected to the IP of the machine. And on this machine, we installed Nginx that handles all the requests and redirects to the IP of the app with its port. With the help of the aapanel tool, a simple user interface, we're going to add the website to the Nginx, with the domain name would be cms.codepickles.com as entered in the AA record. We're going to apply for an SSL and we're going to submit it. Here the website is successfully created and an SSL is requested from let'sencrypt.com that gives us a free SSL for 3 months. We can see that when entering cms.codepickles.com, it would give us that the site is created. Now we're going back to the aapanel to configure the reverse proxy. We'll go to the website, go here for the reverse proxy. We're going to add the IP of the machine that, okay, and in the same domain it will be host, and we're going to submit. For the app, we're going to name it here, for example, the proxy. We're going to say that it would be like CMS reverse. Submit. Okay. Now we go to and refresh the cms.codepickles.com. We can see that the site is redirected to the app that we hosted in the portainer, in the port 8900, and the user doesn't see anything related to ports, to redirections, to the SSL. Let's go back to the reverse proxy and see the configuration. We can see here that the main 2 instructions are the proxy pass, which is responsible to redirect to the IP and port of the app, and the proxy set header that preserves the sending host domain. As part of the quick video series, in this video we succeeded to map a domain to a Docker container while installing SSL certificate. In normal conditions, we would use Linux commands to build and run Docker, and we would write configuration scripts for Nginx. But here I prefer to introduce graphical tools to do the job. Thanks for watching, guys, and see you in the next episode.